little Dennis is with us again, because we are continuing our look at this. Well, what it is it's my automatic writings after my psychedelic experience, and this is part 2I, which is actually part 9. So this has been going for about 9 hours now, and the last one we did. Hey, I've got that thing. I've always wanted one of these on a video. It's that thing where me and my sister call this bubble in the throat. What happens is you have a bubble in your throat and it makes you sound funny, and it stays like that until you swallow. Here, I love this. I'm going to try not to swallow now because I like this. But the place where we ended it. Oh, you sound a little funny when you've got that. I have to swallow. So the place that we ended it we ended it with a fart. We ended it with how the fart is a perfect representation of the process that we're inside of. But so the next bit we're going into now is the dream diary, day 1037. This is I've also got to talk about the Holy Trinity. So the Holy Trinity, what happened was this week I was watching a video, and what happened was they were talking about, somebody mentioned the Holy Trinity. I'd never heard of it before. It was I can't even remember what it was, but I remember thinking negative, positive and balance. It sort of summed up this grid. Balance, positive and negative. So one is like the God, one is the devil, and then you got the human, the balance point. Because this isn't the base level God. This isn't the creator. This is a sub-level God created within the illusion. So it's an illusion God. Same with the devil. But this is the Holy Trinity. And then also, if you go back into these things here, look, where we're talking about like hell, heaven and earth, again, Holy Trinity. And then what happens is, I've been thinking about this a lot. What happens is, if you zoomed out, where's an image of it? Like the time, here we go, look, this here. What's happening is, every single, so these are all point particles. I'll put links to all the other videos in the description, because I explained all of this in that, but each of these little circles is a point particle within the timeless. Each point particle turns into this grid, which is the point particle in the process of finding balance by the numbers 369. But what I thought to myself was, each of these point particles is actually God, devil and the imbalance and balance. So each of the, because what it is on this timeline, this is the point particle in balance. This here is the point particle as God, or as a positive. But it's actually that is that. So the positive is that one. But if you take that away, the positive then becomes a point particle in balance. So next to that would be a point particle. Can you see what I mean? In other words, if you go that way along the timeline, you get more and more negative. So what would happen is, this point particle would have a negative, which would be, let's say it's a demon, a devil. But that would actually be in balance for this one. So then this one here, next to it would have a point particle, which would be a devil. So in other words, it's getting more and more negative one way, more and more positive the other way. Even though, which is now a paradox, they're all in balance. It's very weird. But I thought to myself, the Holy Trinity. This is like the Holy Trinity. Oh, I wish I remembered what the video was about. But I know that whatever they were talking about, it made me think of that. And I'd never heard of that Holy Trinity before. But again, I'm going to do research into it. So, but let's get into the dream diary. Then it's day 1037. So this was just after the psychedelic experience. And what it is these here is my automatic writing, which I do when I wake up during the night, normally in the morning, just before I go to work. I just write when I'm still half asleep. And what was happening was, after this psychedelic experience, for a few days, it's almost like you were channeling something. But what was also happening was, I was waking up in the middle of the night, and my dreams were sort of having information as well. So this is what happened in my dream diary on the 12th of January 3 days after the psychedelic experience. This was Tuesday night. So what have we got here? We've got, well, this is the DNA. So you've got the DNA. What happens is it looks like there's two strands. It looks like there's one timeline going upwards, one timeline going downwards. But again, if you could zoom out far enough, you would see that the DNA is actually looping. Which what it really means is it's only really one timeline flowing in one direction. Because if you took the timeline that's going downwards, if you stretch that out over here, it would just go like that. If you stretch the whole thing out, it would just be like a line. So it's just an illusion of the process. Is just an illusion, really. DNA is the entanglement of the two souls' timelines, but all souls inside of it. This goes into what we talked about in the last video, where you have like the infinity within balance, infinity, the 8, infinity inside of the balance. But then I started thinking, now this gets amazing now. Look at this, look. This is the reason we have to talk in numbers and shapes, is because they can't be manipulated. If you start using words, the words can be manipulated, so they can lose their meaning, or they can be misinterpreted. Misinterpreted. Numbers can't. A number 3 is always a number 3. Even if that number 3 becomes negative 3, it's still 3. See? So that the number cannot change. It's always 3. But what I started realising was 8, which is infinity, like that. Well, if you split that in half, you get 3. And then what happens is, if you then put that 3 together, if you put the 3 together like that, you get the whole. So it's almost like, what's actually happening is, look, 8 equals 2 halves, 3 equals a half, 2 halves, 2 souls. 2 souls as whole as the halves. Can you see? It's like you've got the infinity is these, it's almost like infinity is showing the process of two. That what you've got is you got your 2 entangled souls like that. When you put them together, you get your 8, but really they're in a process, so they're spinning. So really, it's one. It's really 1 in that looks like 2, but when that spins, it looks like an 8. So it looks like infinity. The numbers are visual. And then I also started realising, so the number's 3, 6, 9. 3 is the process. 6 is something not in balance, so it's unresolved. 9 is something that's in balance, which has been resolved. So effectively that would then become like a 0. But what I realised was, 6 and 9, they're the same. If you rotate them, you still get 6 and 9. And I also noticed it's the same with 8 as well. If you rotate 8, you still get 8. So I started realising these numbers, and even 3, the number 3, if you spin it, you get the opposite of 3, but really you've still got your 3 because it's spinning like this as well. But even that 3, basically all these numbers you can spin them and they still look the same, which I thought was quite interesting. I'll put here, it's 3 because the process is finding balance of 2 souls in one being. So you've got 2 souls, because what it is, this is a balance. This is a point particle or a being that's in balance. If it's in process, it becomes like that, or like this, which is a 3. Put that together, you get your 8. But really, it's that, because when the 2 souls are in balance, it becomes like this. Well, it would become like that, but then they would be in balance. So you would end up with that. You would end up with the 2 souls in balance. Only one process, but 2 process timelines. Looks like 2, but there's no end. Yeah, if you can't see the end, it looks like there's 2 separate timelines. But when you see the whole thing, you can see it's actually 1. And it's the same down here as well. It's like looping down here as well. So it's all within itself. Only one timeline going forwards and back. But really it's not going forwards and backwards, it's going in one direction. But then when you get to the timeless, there is no flowing. It's just existing. So the reverse timeline is just the forward one upside down. Oh yeah, this is what I started thinking about as well. Look, if you get 3 and you flip it, you get the energy. E equals mc squared. I started thinking about E equals mc squared, and E is energy, mc was mass, no, m was mass, and c was light. So this to me, it was like it was explaining the illusion. The illusion is energy, which is process, so it's free. The mass is the solid, which isn't really solid, but the solid is the 6. The solid is the 6 and 9, because that's where the illusion is looking real. The physical, that's the physical. This is the energy in a state. It's either in a state of balance or not balance. And then light is basically time. So that's the time is the thing that holds. The time is the thing that holds everything together. Because if you take the time away, then you're just existing, which is what it really is. It really is doing that. But for the illusion, which is a virtual reality, we need to have energy, we need to have process, we need to have the mass is just a byproduct of the process. If you put process and light together, which is time, you end up with mass. It's almost like the whole thing's put together. I just thought that was really cool. So I didn't know what C was. I had to look online about that. I didn't actually look for it. What happened was I watched a random video, and the bloke started talking about it, E equals mc squared. And it reminded me, I needed to look for that. And then he explained that it was light. I thought that was quite interesting. So 1980 was the year I was born. 1 is the whole, 9 is imbalance, 8 is infinity inside of itself. So you've got the 8 and the 0. 1 whole. So you've got 1, which is whole, and out. Yeah. So what I started thinking was, is something being whole the same as something in balance? And it's not. So a 1, which is a whole, I put here, an out of control person is whole, but it doesn't have to be in balance. So you could have somebody who's completely out of control. So they're whole. They are whole, but they're not in balance. Somebody's in balance. A collection of people singing. So you've got a collection of people singing. They're all in balance. So it doesn't have to be one whole. It can be a collection of things in balance. Which is what the timeless is. The timeless with all the... Where is it? The timeless with all the thingies on it. That is actually all in balance. This here is actually all in balance. In the timeless. What else have we got here? 3/4/1980. 3, this is my birthday. 3, the process of balance. 4 is 2, so my birthday, I put it into words. 3rd of the 4th, 1980. I put that into words, and I got the process of balance of 2 entangled souls is the whole in balance by having infinite possibilities inside of itself. So what I did here was I turned the numbers of my birthday into a sentence using 3 is process, 4 is 2 entangled souls, which is where you get the cube. 1980, 1 is the whole, 9 is balance, 369, and 8 and 0 are infinity, and is infinity inside of like finite balance inside of itself, basically. So the sentence was, the process of balance of 2 entangled souls is the whole in balance by having infinite possibilities inside of itself. Numbers can be in the illusion and not be corrupted by it, as they are timeless. I like that. I think this was a dream I was having. Yeah, that was a dream. what's this? I can't read that probably. So we've got, 1 equals 0 when it's not looping. So the whole equals balance when it's not looping, which means when it's not in process. 1 equals infinity from a distance when it's looping. That's when it's in process. It is all one. Yeah, it's all one. Because the whole is either in balance or it's not. But it's still the same thing. And then I started trying to work out a number thing, because I thought, you start out with one being, it splits itself into two. You get your two souls. If that then split itself into two, you would end up with, I was trying to work out whether you would end up with 3 or 4. And I couldn't quite work that one out. What's this? Dreaming about an alien. This is another, I think these are dreams I was having. What else have we got here? Yeah, these are all dreams again. Then I was having a dream here about pyramids. So you've got the new earth, you've got pyramids. So the new earth exists before the pyramids. The pyramids is what creates the illusion. It's what creates the virtual reality, which is the physical, basically. So you've got the new earth, the pyramids get created, and they are linked to the pyramids in the future, but we are in the middle of these 2 points of the pyramid. But really, we're over here in the new earth, because really we've just gone into like an illusion. In future to me, but really in the past. Yeah, so what it is you're here. So inside of the illusion, you're here along a timeline, but really you're here. So where you really are, that looks like the future, but because you're inside of it, it's the past. But it's the past and the future together. It's quite cool. Aliens built the pyramids to try and be, and try to be human, to experience. I think it says everything. New Earth is trying to stop the pyramids from being built. They opened a 9-year time loop from 2012 to 2021. You had to climb into what's this? You had to climb into I had to climb out. I think this is a dream again. Gold, get up and dance. Laughing out loud equals 101. Funny dream. Yeah, I'm still dreaming here. I said, little boys, this is what I'm saying. This is weird. It's like my dreams were all about this stuff. 369, half of it, or squared. Yeah, I also started thinking about this, look. The number 3 and energy, it's like, that's like a wave. When you put it on the side, it's like a wave. It's almost like energy is a wave, 3 is a wave, because it's process. 3 is a spinning 8. No, 8 is a spinning 3. 3 spinning equals 8. So you got the 3 equals like that. Everything is spinning. This is another dream again. To spin in some space in opposite direction at the same time. Oh yeah, I was trying to work out what happens if you had, what would happen if you were spinning. Yeah, if you were spinning in both directions at the same time, what would happen? I know it's sort of impossible, but I'm trying to work out, if you were spinning like this way, let's say you were spinning this way, like that, and then you was inside of, say, a ball or something. So inside of the ball you're spinning like this, but then the ball that you're inside of is actually spinning that way. I was just trying to work out what would happen if you went really super quick, because at that point you're spinning in both directions at the same time. So I wondered whether that you would cease to be, or if you would sort of, time would get messed up or something. And this is another dream. So basically that was all really just about how the numbers 369 and the numbers 8 and 0, they all seem to be linked. And I almost look at these numbers now as shapes. Yeah, I look at these numbers now as shapes. They're shapes which, from any direction, they still look the same. Because the thing is, let's say you had the number 4. Oh, this was another thing I thought about as well. The number 4 looks like the grid with one of the we talked about this on one of the other episodes, where you had like the Hitler thing. What that is it's a being that isn't in balance. The only time you're ever in balance is in the centre. But it's a being like a god. It's a god inside of the illusion that is trying to go into the timeless from a state of not balance, because it wants to go into the timeless. It wants to go into the timeless as a god, as a fake god, basically. And then I thought to myself, that looks like the number 4. It's quite funny. And then the thing with that is, if you spin the 4, it still looks like the grid, which I thought that was quite interesting. That's it for that. Let's get back into the automatic writing. So this was for Wednesday, confusion and clarity. So at first I was writing, and then I think I started getting some more stuff. Yeah. Let's see what I put here. Together. I know confusion and clarity together. I know it makes no sense, but that's where I'm at. I'm either dead or dying. I feel exhausted but energised. I'm scared but totally at peace. No fear but tension. It's so weird. I want to sleep, sleep, sleep. Sleeping is where I am. All I have to do is do nothing, which is so funny. I will do my best. I will do my best by just being. I am already my best. Tired. So this is the next thing I was thinking about. Tired. Tired but awake. I would like to see Funny. Funny is the cat that jumps through my window. Just to say thank you one last time. But I think she already knows. She's done her job. I've done mine too. Which is why I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dying, or I'm already dead. I can't work out which. It feels nice but sad. Opposites together. That's where I'm at right now. Opposites together. I am the paradox. And then I'll move into my single-minded purpose. So each day what I do is a little goal that I've got to do. And then this is what it said. There is nothing to do, which is the beauty of it all. It's already done. So nothing to do but be. And then all of a sudden I start getting more stuff more like downloads, I suppose. So this is what it said. The language of knowing is doing. But as I've already done, the doing is doing nothing. Doing non-doing. Undo it, yeah, I like this. Undoing all the doing you were doing that was stopping the done. How cool is that? Listen to this, look. The language of knowing is doing. But as it's already done, the doing is doing nothing. So in other words, you have to do nothing. You don't have to do anything because it's already done. But because you think you've got to do something, you start doing something, but it's that doing that is actually stopping it from being done. So it's like you're getting in your own way. It says non-doing. So basically what you've got to do now is, non-doing is undoing all the doing you were doing that was stopping the done. It's quite funny. Not wearing a headscarf. So what I did was, I now, ever since this psychedelic experience, I've been going to work without anything on my head, like my hair. So I've basically let go of the fear of my hair, I suppose. So it says, not wearing a headscarf equals undoing the undoing. In other words, I did the action of not wearing a headscarf, but it was the action of wearing a headscarf. What I was doing was, before this psychedelic experience, every day I was wearing a headscarf, which was hiding my hair, but that was actually stopping myself from being in balance. So I did the action of not wearing a headscarf, which meant I didn't have to do an action anymore, because the action was wearing a headscarf. So I did a non-action by no longer wearing a headscarf, which means I'm now in balance with my hair. And that's basically what I've realised. You've got to go through life now undoing all these things you've been doing, which have actually been putting you out of balance. So it says, so you are doing, but it's non-doing. Yeah. So in other words, you are doing something because you're taking the action of not wearing a headscarf. So you are doing something, but you're actually doing nothing because you're no longer wearing a headscarf. It's quite cool. That I love that. The universe, the outside, the negative space is the doing. You just need to experience it. The universe will do you. The universe is the doing. I love that. By putting that hat on every day, that was me every day doing, not accepting my hair. In other words, every day that I put that hat on and went to work, because I was hiding my hair, that was me doing the action of not accepting my hair. In other words, it's like I was reaffirming that I don't accept my hair by wearing that headscarf every day. Little Dennis, look. The reason, what's this say? No hat equals no action daily as you accept. So because I now accept it, I don't have to do anything. But in a weird way, I am still doing something by not wearing the hat or the headscarf. It's quite weird, isn't it? The reason everything is in reverse, safe equals control. Yeah, so when they say like, oh, we're doing this to keep you safe, like you got to wear these face masks to keep yourself safe, it's actually the reverse. It's actually control. It's control. It's them trying to bring about balance within the illusion. In other words, what they are trying to do. This is what I think happening at the minute. I think what's happening is, because what this grid here, this is one being in balance, and these are the opposites. So you've got either positive or negative. The thing is, this grid, you zoom out, this grid is also like the Earth. So at the moment, the Earth is in a certain state along this timeline. I would say at the moment it's out of balance. So I think what's happened is, I think what they're doing is, and when you say they, you're talking about like the people who know what's going on and are controlling the Earth, like the government and stuff, with all these laws and stuff. What they're trying to do is they're trying to take the Earth in an unbalanced state and basically take it into they're trying to take it out of the illusion in an unbalanced state, when really you can only leave the illusion when you're in balance. But they're trying to take the Earth and all the people on the Earth, all the souls, they're trying to take the whole thing in like a negative state. Basically what you could look at it is, if you wanted to get biblical or something, it's like they're trying to create hell on earth and basically turn that into the truth. So in other words, it would no longer be an illusion. Yes, but we have the choice of saying yes or no, so we can actually... So what happens is, you've got to do it on your own as each point particle, but each point particle is also the whole, which is all the Earth. But then the Earth is a point particle to like the universe. It's a never-ending scale. Quite funny. But really, that's what it's all about. It's about everything trying to get into balance. And then there's forces which are trying to stay in a negative, and there's other forces that want to go positive. It's quite cool. I think it's quite cool. It's them trying to bring about balance within the illusion. They are trying to have balance without balance. Trying to change the timelines. That's why they're getting into the DNA with this vaccine thing. They're trying to change the timelines. That's why they need the DNA. The DNA is the timeline. So what it is the DNA inside of us is it's a timeline. It's a collection of information which creates a timeline. It's a collection of decisions, yes or no decisions, ones and zeros, which creates a memory through a timeline. It's inside of the blood. The blood is the timeless. So the blood and the DNA is like, it's basically, you can look at the DNA as like the illusion, and the blood is the timeless. The blood is the truth. The DNA is the illusion inside of the truth. So the DNA needs the blood because it's inside of the illusion. The illusion is inside of the timeless. If you change the DNA, you change time. Stabilise pure negative. Make pure negative the new balance. That's what I'm saying. They're trying to make the Earth negative so that that will become the new balance, basically. So if you go back to this thing here, it's almost like they're trying to move us down the timeline. Trying to move it down the timeline towards more negative. But I don't think it's like that. I think it's more it's not like linear like that. It's like that's the only way you can draw it, really. But really, it's more like a dimensional thing. That's what I think. Stabilize pure. They're trying to stabilize negative, pure negative, via the DNA. Two entangled souls: the soul of a physical, soul of a spiritual. 369 energy, as that's how the process plays out in the virtual reality. Yeah, energy is it's like a video game. Energy is like the code which keeps the illusion going. Then we've got these things here, little symbols that I think that's male and female. That was a mistake though. That was just a point particle. That's a point particle. One point particle going that way, the other one going that way. And I've just realised that looks like the male and female symbols. God starts, what's this? God starts the dream illusion. God starts the dream illusion by going that way. Pyramids start the, God starts the earth. God starts earth. The dream illusion, something like that, I think. The pyramid starts as, I can't read it. Pyramid starts, I know what it says. God starts an earth dream illusion. Pyramid starts an earth virtual reality illusion. Something like that. Going this way. Again, this is why you got your two pyramids. Because that's like a timeline. Future and the past. Two timelines. It's in the grid again. So on the grid it would look like that, which is you got your pyramids, that's your illusion, and then you've got the what's it called? The timeless. So you've got the timeless and the illusion inside of that grid as well. DNA is the two timelines that are really one, appear to be flowing in opposite directions. But if you stand back, I can't read me writing. If you stood back and looked at it, I think you see only one direction. That's what I talked about before with the thing. Yeah, like that. That looks quite good actually. So the DNA, for instance, starts out like this, like wibbly wobbly. Really, it's like that. Because if you take that DNA and stretched it, it would be like that. And it'd be like that, looping. This is how future creates the past. The reason future creates the past is because this bit here, so this bit here on the timeline, if time's flowing that way, this bit here happens after that, but if you put that into here, that bit could be there, and like this bit would be, where would it be? Wait a minute. Well, yeah, you could put that there. So this bit here happens after that, but if you looked at it on this timeline, that bit has happened before that. Because if you zoomed out, it would look like one line. So you end up with things, basically things. Because the thing is about this is only like a visual thing. It's actually like this. It's actually a circle. So you got a square here and a circle here. No, a square and a triangle. That triangle happens after that, but it also happens before that. Because if you're here, that is in the future. If you're here, that's in the past. But when you get over here, it's in the future again. So in other words, this action here is always in the future and the past. But all of it is. Because it's looping. The language of truth has to be action, doing, because this is an illusion. Words in an illusion equals possibility. Action / doing in an illusion turns illusion into truth. So it's only action. Words in an illusion equals possibilities. in other words, if I say I'm going to paint my nails today, I haven't actually painted my nails until I've painted them. So I might not paint them. So that means it's just a possibility of painting them. But if I actually painted my nails and like that, then I've done it. So then the nails are painted. So that's the truth. Person challenging you for not wearing a face mask has the right to freedom to challenge. So you shouldn't challenge them, else you create an entanglement. Yeah, so in other words, you've got to let everyone be. Because if you let everyone be, even if you don't agree with it, you've got to let them be. And then everyone's in balance then. But the beauty is you have the free will to challenge. That's what I love about this. Exactly. Just because free will is the key here. Free will is the key. Free will is the thing that determines what happens with these two entangled souls. Free will is like the third part of it. You've got these two entangled souls, which I said on one of the other episodes. It's like you've got like a pure sort of human. You've got like a pure human, or let's just say you could call it a god or something. You've got, let's say, a reptilian on this one. But you've also, what you are is the observer. As the observer, you have free will to decide between these two, which is really, it's a 1 or a 0, negative or positive. You've always got free will to decide which action you're going to take, which is brilliant. So you might know a certain action is a positive, but you can still decide to go to the negative. I love that. It's the system, the illusion, gives you complete freedom to do what you want. Which I thought was I like that. It says here, blood is the balanced timeline. Yeah, blood is the timelessness, basically. And then you start thinking about the Bible when they're talking about turning water into wine and stuff. It feels like it's all sort of symbolising the blood and stuff like that. DNA is the process within the balanced timeline. So then I looked at it like this. You've got the timelessness, and then you've got the DNA, which is like a block of time. It's like this is the human experience inside of the timelessness. And the better way to look at it is like with circles, because then what happens is the timeless is just timeless like that. Human, which is a block of time, is a little one inside of the big one. But what you see is it goes like this. So it's really one big loop, and then it's going to be doing it all along here, like that. And then that inside of it is going to be doing this as well. And then the little ones. So no matter how far in you zoomed in, you would always see this. And then also, no matter how far out you zoomed out, you would always see that as well. Never-ending process. So we are a connection to the balanced timeline. Yeah, we as a human are directly connected to the balanced timeline. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to separate that from that. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to take one of these little timelines and separate it from the timeless. And then that then is like separated. But really we should be over here. They're trying to turn the illusion process of possibilities into reality via the DNA. Change the base reality. They're trying to recreate. You could say they're trying to recreate a god, or they're trying to recreate a timeless virtual reality within a dream. All possibilities of all possibilities. And I put here, why not just take everyone's DNA? And then it said, it's to do with free will. The DNA has to be given via free will. Because what happens is, let's just say they forced it on you and took the DNA without your free will. What happens then is the karma. Because what happens then, basically, if you give your free will away like that, then you've given it away. So then all the actions that follow, you've actually given that away. If they force it, then all the karma related to that action is not with you. because you didn't give it away. Your free will is sort of sacred, really. What happens is let's say the person who forced it, the person who forced the action on you, they take on the karma. So that's why it's basically all to do with karma. That's why that's why this whole thing has to be done with free will. You have the free will to wear a face mask, so you take on the karma of wearing a face mask. Like I said, if they forced it on you, they would have to take on all that karma. I think in a minute I start talking about, what's he called? Jimmy Savile and stuff. Yeah, look, Jimmy Savile. It's amazing. I started really thinking about a lot of things here. So the other thing is, the DNA has to be given via free will. Basically, what you're doing is you're giving away your connection to source. If you just take it, it creates some sort of entanglement. And that, yeah, if you just take somebody's DNA without their free will, the person who has taken the DNA, they then create an entanglement with the karma, basically. Whereas if you give it away, you are then entangled with the karma of giving that away. This is again, and the karma is just a 6. Something that's out of balance is a 6, which means there's unresolved issues, which means there's karma. If you're in a 9, which is you're balanced, there's no karma, because there's no entanglements. It's quite cool. Balance equals doing to undo all the doing. I like that. Non-doing. Dream Diary 1038. So we've got to go over to the Dream Diary here. How big's this one, I wonder? Oh, this is a big one. That's what she said. I think this will be the last bit for this video, and then we'll come back to this. So Jimmy Savile will be the next video, I think. What have we got here? Talking about the chakras. Chakras spin anti and clockwise. That's interesting. 2 souls, 2 timelines. Oh yeah, I was reading a book about chakras just before I went to bed, and inside of that they said about chakras spin anti-clockwise and clockwise, which it was like, wow, that was just what I was explaining here. So the chakras inside of us are actually spinning in both directions. I thought it was quite cool. This is my dreams again. So here we go, look. Blood is the not time. Basically, blood is the timeless. So blood is the timeless, DNA is the illusion. The 2 timelines moving in opposite directions, which is only really one. That creates the spinning. Yeah, that creates the spinning. Because, look, you got the timeline goes like that, it goes like that, it goes like that. What happens is it spins. Counting would be 1, 0, 1, 0. Yeah, in other words, 1 and then 0. 1, 0. So you start getting like binary code. Look, spinning up and down. Spinning is just really, all spinning really is, when you think about it, is something going up and down. Like that, really quickly. Because it's going like that, but it's really good. It's going up, and it's coming down. And it's going up, and it's coming down. So all you end up with is 1s and 0s. Up and down, forwards and backwards. And then you start realising it's like a wave. Up, down, up, down, up, down. That would be like 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. It's not really spinning, it's back and forth. Exactly. It's only spinning because that's how we have to visualise it, to understand it. Look at this, look. Walk like an Egyptian. Yeah, walk like an Egyptian. Remember they used to do that thing, they go, walk like an Egyptian. I thought that was like the Hitler sign, because if you take that, that's like the walk like an Egyptian. If you start spinning that, you end up with the Hitler thing, which again is like 2 entangled souls. They're trying to make solid a hell timeline, DNA action. We can make solid a heaven timeline. So in other words, they're trying to make solid a hell timeline via DNA. We can make solid a heaven timeline via our actions. Make solid means no entanglement. Exactly. it goes into that thing over, where was it? Yeah, no entanglement means they've separated the DNA from the blood. They've separated the DNA from the blood, which is basically they've unentangled the illusion from reality, and at that point the illusion would then become reality, and then they could start spinning illusions off of that illusion, but all of those future illusions would be based on a fake reality that they've created. It's quite amazing, this is. We can make solid. They make solid means no entanglement. As above, so below. You can make the timeless solid via either the DNA or via actions in the illusion. In other words, you can bring about heaven on earth with your actions. You can bring about hell on earth via the DNA. Well, basically there's two ways. Either the DNA or via actions in the illusion. Again, it goes into free will. But really, both of these would be action. Either will change the other. DNA and blood will change the timeline. Action of balance will change the timeline. DNA and blood will change the timeline. If you separate DNA from blood, that's going to change the timeline. If you create action of balance, if you create action inside of the illusion, action of balance, which means you're not doing anything. Action of balance means you are basically you're following your heart, really. I know it sounds a bit weird. Yeah, follow your heart and just be nice. It's really simple, and you're going to you'll change the timeline. 2021, the year timeline will either solidify as hell, which will be a 6, or heaven, which will be a 9, or it loops back to 2012, which would be a 3, so it's still in process. So in other words, it looks like 3 options. Either we end up in a negative timeline, which would be like a 1984 style dictatorship thing. You end up in like a heaven on earth, which would be like going back to connection with nature and spiritual, or it's so unresolved that it actually has to loop back to 2012. What's this here? Look, we've got, so this block here, block of time, is a human. This is a human inside of the timeless, and that is a DNA. That's a collection of your memories inside of the DNA. DNA is a block of the timeline flowing forwards and backwards. Yeah, because the thing is, the DNA is like this. You're inside of that big thing of DNA, so you're inside of a section of it. So it's a part of the whole. Blood. The timeless has all possibilities. The timeless, which is the blood, has got all of everybody's DNA inside of it. It's got every single type of DNA in it. And it's because that's all the possibilities inside of the timeless. The DNA, you can travel forwards and back along the timeline. Yeah, because what happens is, you pop out, you get back into the timeless, you could actually, I've thought about this a lot, you could become a different, let's say you die in 2021, and your next lifetime is you get born in 1950. So what that means is, your future is actually in the past. Because what could happen is, you could be born in 1950, which is your person number 1, you get born in the year 1980, you die in the year 2021. That was your first run through. What happens is, you die, you get reincarnated and come back in 1950, and so your second timeline is in 1950, and what happens is, that's your second timeline, but you could do an action in that timeline which would change the actions of the first one. So in other words, I love this. Let's say let's say in 1980 you were born and you started playing a video game and you loved it, you thought it was brilliant and it changed your life. You die in 2021, you get reincarnated and you get born in 1950. In 1950 you create a video game and then you die. But that video game that you created is the video game that you play in your, well, this is the thing. It's the video game that you played in your first timeline, which it calls you to create an action which changes the world. So what happened is, the one that came after you, the second incarnation that you had, was actually it's the first one along the timeline, but it was the second one. Again, this shows how you can bounce around these timelines. So in other words, what's amazing about this is, the first time you ever get born, you might get born on the last day of the Earth, when the Earth gets blown up. That might be your first lifetime. And then what happens is, your last one could be the day the Earth gets born. So in other words, what happens then is, the one that gets created on the first day of the Earth has got all the knowledge of what's going to happen, because it's already seen the end of the world. So then what happens then is, it starts creating, it could tell all these stories about how the world's going to end, because it's already been there, even though it hasn't happened yet. It's quite cool. I've thought about that a lot. I reckon there's a good little story in that. You could have about 3 or 4 of these characters which are all sort of linked together throughout the whole of time. You have to live by your truth no matter what. That is balance. Even if it's creating utter chaos, even if it creates utter chaos all around, you will be in total balance. In other words, if this world goes completely out of control, as long as you're in balance, that's all that matters. And I do believe the more you get in balance, the more the outside is going to get in chaos, because you are entangled with it. So it's almost like that's going to end up being part of the process of evolving. If everyone lives by their truth, total balance all around, which would be like a heaven on earth. This is another dream that I was having. Oh, look at this, look. In sleep, you visually lose lucidity. In waking, you, what's this word say? You entity lose awareness. Wait a minute, I think I'll explain this in a minute. Waking and sleep are in reverse. Waking and sleep are in reverse. Lucid. Yeah, I like this. Look, watch this, look. When you're asleep, if you wake up, you lose awareness. No. When you're awake, you lose awareness. Oh, I can't. I love this bit as well. I remember this made sense. I thought it was brilliant. Basically, what's happening is, it's in reverse. When you're awake, when you're in the waking state, you lose awareness. When you're awake, you are already conscious, but if you lose awareness, you become subconscious. When you're sleeping, you are already subconscious, but if you become lucid, you become conscious. So it's like it's the same thing in reverse. So in a sleep, you are already subconscious, but you have to become conscious, which is lucid. In the waking state, you are already conscious, but you are already conscious, but you become subconscious. See, this is the reason I'm getting all this out at the minute, is because what I need to do is I need to really work this out, and then I'm going to do separate videos explaining each of these things. But there's something in this. Let's keep reading. Maintaining awareness, staying/becoming lucid. Yeah, I know. When you're awake, you can become. Let's say when you're awake, if you are aware of being awake, basically, you've got to maintain that awareness. Otherwise, you're going to slip into the subconscious. It's the same in the lucid dream, but in the lucid dream, you are already asleep. So you have to become lucid inside of the dream, whereas in the waking state, it's the other way around. you are awake, but you might fall sort of asleep. Even though you're still awake, you're going to sort of lose your consciousness, basically. Sleep, you have to become conscious from an unconscious state. In the waking state, you have to stay conscious from a conscious state. That's it. This is how you break the illusion. So you have to break the illusion inside of the physical, which is the waking state, and you do that by staying conscious from a conscious state. Because if you can do that, what happens is you see through the illusion. But when you're in the sleep state, you break the illusion by becoming conscious from an unconscious state. So it's the same thing in reverse. The waking state, you're conscious. The sleep state, you're unconscious. So this is all to do with consciousness. That's how you break the illusion. Break the illusion awake by not slipping into the unconscious. Break the illusion of sleep by not staying unconscious. So in other words, in the waking state, you gotta not slip into the unconscious, which is you basically saying keeping yourself present. Keeping yourself present. In the sleep, you break the illusion by not slipping, by not staying unconscious. In other words, you've got to wake yourself up. So in other words, you've got to wake yourself up from the sleep to break the illusion, because then you suddenly realise you're dreaming, which means you've broken the illusion of dreaming. Inside of the waking, you have to not slip into the unconscious, because otherwise you will start taking the illusion, which is the physical, you will take it to be real. So it's the same sort of thing, but in reverse. In the sleep, we think it's real until we wake up. But in the waking state, we think it's real until we wake up. So it's the same thing, it's just you're coming at it from different directions. I think it's brilliant. So I'll put another way to look at it is break the illusion of waking by staying conscious, break the illusion of sleep by not slipping into the unconscious. DNA equals wake and sleep, physical and spiritual, which is time. So waking and sleeping is two sides of it. Waking is the physical, sleeping is the spiritual. And then you've got the two timelines, conscious and unconscious. So again, you look at it like you're sleeping and then you're awake. It's like you've almost sort of got these two timelines in your, just by being alive. Illusion equals non-lucid. Breaking the illusion equals you become lucid. And you have to become lucid in your dreams and in the physical. And lucid is just becoming conscious. So it's not slipping into the unconscious, basically. Because if you can stay conscious, then that's how you live by your truth. Wake equals time forward, sleep equals time in reverse. Wake equals stay, sleep equals become. Same from different opposite sides. Wake equals stay. So in the waking state, you have to stay conscious, because it's very easy to slip into the unconscious. Especially if you're like meditating, you have to really stay conscious. In the sleep, you have to become conscious. But I think the end goal is to always be conscious. So you would end up staying conscious throughout the whole thing. You would never have. Basically, this is what it's like. It's like you're becoming conscious in the wake. Then you lose it. You go to sleep. Then you become conscious. So it's like that. I think the end goal is to stay conscious all the time. So there would be no going in and out of consciousness. Balance. This is sort of like out of balance. If you get distracted by the illusion in sleep, you lose consciousness. So if you get distracted if you're in a dream and you become lucid, and all of a sudden, say, I don't know, you see something amazing, and you suddenly forget that you're dreaming, you will just slip into a normal dream. You will lose your consciousness. In the waking state, if you get distracted by something, what it normally is you're fully conscious, and then a negative thought will come in, and it will start saying something like, I don't know, it might say something like, oh, they're looking at you funny. If you start going into that, you're going to lose consciousness, because you're going to go into that and you're going to think that the illusion is real. So in the sleep, the illusion is visual. Yeah, in the sleep, the illusion is visual. In the waking state, the illusion is thought-based. That's when it becomes the same. So it becomes the same here. It's all about not losing your consciousness. Yeah, no distraction means in sleep you are conscious, and in the waking state you are conscious. And distractions in the sleep are visual things, because you'll see things and you go, oh, I want to go over there, and then you get taken out of the dream, or you get taken into the dream. In the waking state, a thought will come along, and you'll get pulled into the thought, and that will take you into the dream, take you out of your consciousness. And the consciousness equals the free will. So your free will is the ability to be in balance. Your free will is saying yes to not going towards a distraction in the sleeping state. Your free will in the waking state is to not get distracted by thoughts. This is why free will is so powerful. How to get from forwards and backwards to balance. Spin. Oh yeah, how do you get forwards and backwards to that? It's spin. Because look, it's going down, and then if you spin that, it goes up. So really it's going up and down. And then if you remember it's spinning in all the directions, that's how you end up with that. That really is just, it's all the time, it's basically just, that is representing spinning. So that equals the flow of time in opposite directions to meet in the middle and balance, whilst all around is the illusion. So that's balance, this is all illusion, this is what this is. So that's there. The point in the middle of the grid is consciousness. All of this is subconscious. And then we said before, half of it is physical, half spiritual. It's physical and it's positive and negative of physical, positive and negative of, what's it called? Dream, spiritual and physical. So the spiritual is dream, the physical is the waking state, which is a virtual reality. So they're both illusions. Subconscious, asleep. Physical, virtual reality, spiritual equals a dream. Consciousness, awake. Physical, virtual reality, spiritual is a dream. Same thing. They're both illusions. 95% subconscious. I keep remembering that. Dark matter and dark energy is about 95% as well. Dark energy and dark matter, the subconscious of the universe. The two entangled souls of the universe. I like that. Illusion, possibility. The physical and spiritual of the universe. Physical and spiritual of the universe. Dark matter and dark energy. Dark matter, dark energy. Dark energy would be like the universe sleeping. Dark matter would be the illusion of the universe. Energy and matter. Energy is one soul. Matter is one soul. So then the entangled souls is energy and matter. And this is when, because I started thinking, E equals mc squared. I didn't know what the C was. But this makes a lot more sense now, look. E, energy, that's one soul. Mass, matter, that's what another soul. They're entangled. Their entanglement creates process, which creates time, which is light. That's the illusion, which keeps it all in motion. The dream carries on when you're lucid, you just didn't get taken in by it. The waking illusion, so the dream illusion carries on when you're lucid, you just didn't get taken in by it. The waking illusion carries on when you're conscious, you just didn't get taken in by it. And then I started thinking this thing here is like a clock ticking, like hands of a clock ticking, spinning. Speed of spin. And I've put here, what have I put here? What if time isn't flowing at same speed? What if grid isn't spinning at same spin? I'm thinking about what if time spinning at different speeds. Time in your cave equals simulation. I don't know what this is. Like something, I don't know what that is. Future me. This was a dream, I think. Yeah, this was all a dream. This is all a dream, I think. We are free from the simulation. The code. This was a dream. I was dreaming about the code of the universe was in the mattress of my bed. Very weird. What else is down here? I think that's it, really. The process of falling in love equals emotions. No process equals doesn't experience but is everything. Don't know what this is. I think that's it for this, because this is all my dreams, I think. 1 minute you might say point particle, the next you might say human, the next you might say God. All the same, seen from a different distance. In other words, if you zoomed right in, it looks like a point particle. If you're inside of it, it looks like a human. If you zoomed out far enough, it would look like God. But really, it's all the same thing. It's just the same thing. It's a point particle. It's basically balance. Up close, it's a point particle. Zoom in, and this is the other thing. Up close, it looks like a point particle. If you zoomed into that point particle, it would end up looking like a god from a distance. So it's almost like this whole thing is looped inside of itself as well. Never-ending loop. Because when you're the god, if you zoomed out and it looked like a god, if you zoomed out far enough again, it would end up looking like a point particle. So it's like you could keep zooming out, and if you kept zooming out, it's going to keep going through this process. My alarm's going off, which means I've got to do my washing. This psychedelic experience showed me the process of balance. The feeling of love / expansion in deep meditations is the feeling of balance. So in other words, I like this. Look at this. Wait a minute. I like this, look. Inside of the psychedelic experience, it showed me the process of balance, but the feeling of balance is when you're in a deep meditation, you sometimes feel this expansion. That is the feeling of balance. And then it says enlightenment is just the balance of opposites. It's the balance of opposites living in balance. That's what enlightenment is. I thought it was cool. So when we start the next one, we will be starting here, which says live your truth. And then I think we're going to be getting to Jimmy Savile, black holes, and we also get into, I think I'll start talking about Bill Gates in a minute. It's quite cool. That'll be for the next one. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see, well, little Dennis, he's got to say bye bye.